外贸企业想要出口转内销。
To the foreign trade companies thinking of shifting to domestic sales, wake up! It's simply not practical. You think you can just bring foreign products back and compete in the domestic market? The price war in the domestic market has already pushed profits to the lowest point. There's no room left for foreign products to make a profit.
The ongoing trade war between the US and China, marked by high tariffs on both sides, is severely disrupting trade between the two nations. In an effort to relieve inventory pressure, Chinese exporters are increasingly turning to the domestic market. During the May Day holiday, over 20 export-focused companies showcased their products at the Foreign Trade Products Fair, held at Wuyue Plaza in Huai'an City, Jiangsu. However, despite offering relatively low prices, the event saw limited attendance. This was due to a narrow range of products, inconsistent quality, and the lack of established brand recognition.
Are you directly importing the goods?
Buying them to wear myself, I can't even cover the cost at this price.
There are many excellent foreign trade export companies here. This May, at the Plaza Business Bureau, these companies were brought offline, allowing us to buy high-quality products at factory prices. Which brands have you done contract manufacturing for?
Ferrari, Boston.
Ferrari brand at just 30 yuan per item. You can wear it yourself or buy it for your son. Look at this cotton jacket. So big, just 100 yuan. Get some for the off-season.
Slippers for just 9.9 yuan a pair, so cheap. They're cotton and they're exported to France. I've already bought 15 to 20 pairs.
How long have you been running a foreign trade factory?
18 years. We make products for brands like Disney, H&M, and Gap.
And all these cost 19.9 yuan?
This one's from the A-Tour Hotel, originally 299 yuan, now just 100 yuan. They are exported to Japan and Europe too.
T-shirts for 20 yuan, children's shorts for 10 yuan.
Not making any money, just clearing out stock.
Wow, this looks really good. Hey, these are all just 15 yuan each. You can use them for skiing, but what else can they be used for?
They are also good for cycling and e-bike riding. Anta Sports has similar ones for over 200 yuan.
A pack of 3 cotton t-shirts, 50 yuan. All these t-shirts are 50 yuan each, and all these pants are 50 yuan each too. These hats are only 15 yuan each. You'd pay 30 or 40 yuan for the same ones outside.
I've been working in this factory for over 20 years, and we've exported hundreds of thousands of hats to more than 10 countries.
They are all Disney products. These can't be faked. Not every factory can make Disney products.
You've all seen dish towels, but have you seen dish towels this good looking? Good quality products that foreigners use. Now Chinese people can use them too. There are plenty of quality foreign trade goods here. If you want to stock up during the May Day holiday, just come to Wuyue Plaza.
Although shifting from export to domestic markets pose many challenges, some Chinese businesses are trying domestic sales to survive. On social platforms like Xiaohongshu and Douyin, new accounts identifying as export traders began offering products at steep discounts in live streams since mid-April. The e-commerce platform JD set up a special section selling products originally intended for US buyers, offering discounts up to 50%. Some manufacturers are also directly clearing their stock at ports, selling clothing at rock-bottom prices. As of today, tariffs have risen to 245%. This one container is 3 meters by 15.5 meters, and I can fit about 30,000 items in it. I currently can't even send the goods out. I'll lose money if I do. We specialize in high-end women's luxury fashion manufacturing. For items like these, which we sell to brands, they're sold at 100 to 200 US dollars abroad. Today, I've decided to clear all of them out at the port, selling at 2/3 of the price. For just over 100 yuan, you can take them home. At the Shanghai Global Harbor Export Goods Fair held during the May Day holiday, many foreign trade companies exhibited a diverse array of products. Newly added shelves displayed shoes, clothing, cups, pet products, and floral tea gift sets from over 10 companies. One shoe company representative explained, "We were established in 2004 as an export-oriented women's footwear factory located in Qingpu District, Shanghai. We mainly produce high-end women's shoes for the European and American markets. Due to tariffs, many shoes remain unsold in our warehouse. We brought over 100 styles to the fair, hoping to open up domestic sales channels and improve our situation. These women's shoes were priced between 58 and 239 yuan, including current season sandals and some off-season boots. Another foreign trade company displayed various styles of woven shoes. A staff member explained, "We manufacture for Saludos. Although very popular overseas, they're actually manufactured in Zhejiang province. Their official website lists these shoes for hundreds of US dollars each, but we're now selling them at around 1 or 200 yuan per pair, mainly to clear inventory." However, many foreign trade business owners are not optimistic about shifting entirely to domestic sales. A businessman from Anhui province with over 20 years in foreign trade said that US tariffs impacted his business severely, with about 1 million yuan worth of goods produced but unable to ship. He does not intend to fully shift to domestic sales because the domestic market is highly competitive. He explained that domestic sales might cover basic operational costs, but substantial profit still relies on exports. On May 6, a foreign trade professional known as Old Fans American Diary stated in a video saying shifting from exports to domestic sales is a misleading proposition. He suspects the push for domestic sales may be a tactic by the government to exploit factories. Honestly, I didn't want to talk about this silly shifting from foreign trade to domestic sales, but today I just can't hold back. I asked my cousin, who runs a Taobao store, how the shift to domestic sales is going, and he said he didn't even participate because it means slashing prices to the bone, losing money, and he can't afford to join. When I heard that, I was furious. How is this helping companies through tough times? It's just exploiting struggling factories while trying to boost their reputation. Let's forget about whether foreign trade products even suit domestic tastes. The prices won't work either. You can't sell products made with a 7-time exchange rate in the domestic market without a price advantage. How do you expect to sell them? Plus, the domestic buying power is what it is. If people can buy foreign-made goods, can they also afford to buy from domestic brands? The domestic demand is limited. Also, if the government encourages the shift to domestic sales, why not adjust the laws and regulations accordingly? For example, if you shift to domestic sales, do you still need to do a 3C China compulsory certification? This certification takes time and money, but export products don't need it. If you want to sell to the domestic market without a 3C, and without printing the manufacturer's details on the packaging, just wait to be reported by anti-counterfeiting groups. Can the Market Supervision Bureau really just turn a blind eye? If you get penalized, it's a fine starting at 50,000 yuan, and your products will be taken down. Doesn't this seem like a plan to set up small and medium businesses for failure? Don't ask me how I know. In 2021, I made the mistake of shifting from export to domestic sales, and it's just a way of retreating. It's a last resort to get domestic consumers to cover the losses. Mr. Yuan, who works in international trade, shared in a video on Douyin, Chinese version of TikTok.
出口转内销是行不通的。
Shifting exports to the domestic market simply doesn't work. If we don't continue international trade, we're done for. First of all, there's the price issue. Export products usually have higher profit margins, but once we bring these products back home and compete with platforms like Pinduoduo, we'll instantly get crushed. The domestic market is full of low-quality products, cutting corners in prices. People won't wait around for export quality products or take the time to understand international quality standards. Besides, even high-quality products won't sell without a recognized brand. And as for JD, they're just following along with the policy trend. Even JD's boss, Liu Qiangdong himself, is joining the price war in food delivery. He just wants a seat at the table next year with people building robots. Second, most of our export products don't have domestic demand. Take swimming pools and surfboards, for instance. These things are common overseas. But here, how many people can afford or even enjoy them? So people need to go abroad and see for themselves that foreigners' lives are different from ours. Third, it's not that we have no solutions. The only real way out of this mess is to move our industries abroad. Globalize the supply chain. Don't keep everything in China. Build factories in Latin America, Southeast Asia, and Africa, then sell directly to Europe and the US. The Chinese government's measures to help exporters sell goods domestically may only be temporary. Profit pressures could force some exporters out of business. while others may operate at a loss simply to keep factories open. One exporter said that the more domestic sales he makes in China, the more money he loses.
在关税战下，京东是砸了2000亿开了专区。
In response to the tariff war, JD poured 200 billion yuan into creating special zones, and Pinduoduo introduced hundreds of billions in subsidies, all to help export companies sell domestically. But honestly, our domestic market is already weak and can't handle such a large volume of goods. Products like robot vacuums and electric toothbrushes, which used to sell in the US and Europe, have had their prices cut in half. Sure, consumers are happy to buy cheap products, but profits have dropped to almost zero, some even negative. Meanwhile, factories face rising costs. Electricity, labor, and logistics are all getting more expensive. This isn't a promotion, it's literally losing money for attention. The more they sell, the more they lose. This whole thing is like trying to put out a fire while walking on a tightrope. Clearing stock in the short term feels good, but it digs the hole of deflation deeper and deeper. The tariff war between China and the US has put Chinese businesses in difficulty, especially smaller firms lacking the means to adjust. Many exporters saw sales plummet in April, and efforts to sell domestically remain challenging. Many exporters agree that shifting to domestic sales is not easy, as it involves issues like brand marketing, distribution channels, compliance standards, and repackaging. Sales manager Hu Man at Zhejiang Yifang Textile said,
因为外销的产品，我们的标全部是英文的。
Our export products have labels printed entirely in English. To enter domestic supermarkets, my colleagues now have to cut off all existing packaging and labels and replace them with packaging and brands suitable for domestic sales. Our boss is under enormous pressure. We're actively trying to help him manage these challenges, because only if the boss makes money will workers have food on the table.
Some more large-scale exporters noted the difference in domestic and international market demands. They stated that China's domestic market is limited and cannot absorb the export volume quickly, so they're reluctant to abandon their long-established US market. Zheng Shuguang, owner of a steel exporting business in Zhejiang, told Chinese newspaper Lianhe Zaobao that the recent US tariff increase caused losses exceeding 20 million yuan. Although his company has domestic sales channels, the limited domestic market size makes it difficult to shift his entire exports domestically. The exact number and scale of businesses impacted by the tariff war remain unclear. However, considering China's $524.7 billion exports to the US in 2024, the affected enterprises represent a significant proportion of trade. 1 month after the start of the tariff war, its effects are already evident in economic data. China's official PMI data released on May 6 showed the Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index at 49% in April, down 1.5 points from March, the lowest in over a year. Within PMI components, new export orders saw the biggest decline, dropping 4.3 points to 44.7%, marking the largest recent drop. Meanwhile, the China-US Container Shipping Rate Index has continuously declined. This data clearly shows that the tariff's impact has already arrived. Compared to the 2018 tariff war initiated by President Trump, the current decline is faster and sharper. With higher and quicker tariff hikes this time, the economic impact exceeds that of 2018. China has long faced weak domestic consumption and heavy local government debts. In 2024, record Chinese exports somewhat offset these problems. Although China's government and major businesses publicly support exporters shifting to domestic sales, it remains uncertain whether the domestic market can absorb these products amid tariff pressures and persistent deflation. According to CNBC, while measures like shifting exports to domestic markets may help certain businesses maintain short-term liquidity, they could also deepen China's deflationary pressures in the long run. Price wars among exporters entering the domestic market seem inevitable, harming profitability and ultimately affecting consumers as job losses rise. CNBC highlighted that China's consumer price index fell into negative territory in February and March, after hovering just above zero in 2023 and 2024. The producer price index has now declined for 29 consecutive months as of March. Goldman Sachs forecasts that China's CPI growth in 2025 will drop to 0% from last year's 0.2%, and PPI annual growth will decrease from 2.2% to 1.6%. Reduced profits might prevent companies from expanding or hiring, laying the groundwork for further deflation risks. Professor Xu Chenggang, an economist and senior fellow at Stanford University's China Economic and Institutional Research Center, recently stated that although China seeks to boost domestic demand, the efforts have fallen short. He attributed China's weak domestic consumption to the existence of hundreds of millions of impoverished people, fundamentally rooted in the country's authoritarian communist system. Xu argued that without reforms in land and banking ownership structures and fundamental changes to China's authoritarian system, domestic demand would remain weak, and economic problems would only worsen.